What if I told you that some of the smartest entrepreneurs in ancient Rome weren't senators or generals, but women living in tiny, windowless rooms? Women whose names were scratched onto stone walls, and whose business strategies could still beat yours today. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 business lessons from Roman working women. Lessons on space, marketing, risk, and reputation, all built without funding, freedom, or formal power. They didn't just survive history, they hacked it. So if you've ever felt like the odds are stacked against you, this story is for you. Let's step into a cramped little Roman room and learn. 1. Tiny rooms, big systems. They lived in spaces smaller than your college dorm. No windows, one oil lamp, a single mat to sleep on. But somehow, it worked. These Roman working women didn't just live in those rooms. They ran businesses from them. By day, it was a shopfront. By night, a bedroom. Shelves doubled as storage and display. Curtains created privacy where bricks couldn't. Every object had more than one purpose. Every corner had a job. In Pompeii, archaeologists found entire lives packed into rooms no bigger than a minivan. But inside, order, function, systems. They didn't have Pinterest or IKEA hacks. They had necessity and astonishing clarity. The lesson? You don't need more space. You need more structure. Systems create freedom, even when conditions don't. And speaking of structure, some of them even figured out something we call brand strategy today, long before we had logos or LinkedIn. Let me show you. Second graffiti. Branding. On the wall of an ancient tavern in Pompeii, someone carved, Novelia Primigenia from Nuceria was here. It wasn't random. It wasn't rebellious. It was branding. By adding her hometown, Novelia wasn't just saying, I exist. She was telling locals, I'm one of you. She was building trust, centuries before hashtags and headlines. These women wrote their names in public spaces, near baths or markets, strategically, not accidentally. The lesson? Brand isn't a logo. It's how, where, and why people remember you. And the best part? You don't need a marketing budget. You just need consistency. Now imagine running a business where every customer expects to be remembered. 3. CRM. Without software. They didn't have apps or spreadsheets, but they remembered who liked wine, who brought friends, who needed a kind word after a bad day. These women built trust, not with tools, but with attention. Some even offered discounts for loyal customers, an early version of punch cards. The lesson? People don't stay because you're perfect. They stay because you see them. And speaking of choices, some had to choose between freedom and safety every single day. 4. Risk and autonomy. The gig economy of Rome street work gave them full control. They chose clients, set prices, kept everything they earned. But it also meant danger, isolation, no protection. Brothels offered shelter and steady clients, but took most of the earnings and all of the freedom. Different risks, different rewards. Sound familiar? The lesson? Freedom isn't free, but it's worth more when you know the cost. And sometimes, the support they needed didn't come from men, but from somewhere else entirely. 5. Religion equals reputation system. Some Roman temples opened their doors to working women, not to judge them, but to honor them. These weren't just places of worship. They were safe spaces, community centers, reputation hubs. Being seen in the right temple? It was like a 5-star review on Yelp. Only sacred. The lesson? Reputation doesn't come from perfection. It comes from participation. And even in a world designed to forget them, they carved their names in stone and in history. So the next time you think you need more time, more tools, more support to start something, remember them. They had no tech, no funding, no social approval, just cramped rooms, sharp minds, and unshakable grit. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They built systems. They built brands. They built trust. And somehow, without permission, they built legacy. If this story moved you, let me know in the comments. Which lesson hit home the most? And if you believe history still has more to teach us, subscribe. We're just getting started. Imagine this. You're standing on the edge of a Roman military camp. The smell of smoke and sweat fills the air. The clink of armor echoes in the distance. In just a few hours, you'll no longer be you. You'll be a soldier of the most disciplined and feared army the world has ever seen. It's not the Hollywood version with shining armor and heroic speeches. This is the real Roman legion, a place where comfort doesn't exist, where your name and identity are stripped away, and where survival means giving everything to the unit. So, could you handle it? Let's find out. 1. Breaking the man to build the soldier. From the moment you enter the camp, the Legion's first mission isn't to teach you how to fight. It's to erase who you used to be. Your hair is shaved off, your farmer's clothes are replaced with a plain military tunic, and your name, forgotten. From now on, you're just Miles, a soldier, identical to thousands of others. Modern military psychology calls this identity stripping, the deliberate removal of individuality to create a perfectly unified fighting machine. The Romans mastered this 2,000 years before we had the science to explain it. Small lesson here. Sometimes, to achieve collective strength, you have to set aside your ego. It's a sacrifice not everyone is willing to make. And once the old identity is gone, the Legion starts rebuilding you from the ground up, stronger in both body and mind. 2. Training for war. Roman style. With your individuality erased, the Legion molds you into a weapon, using iron discipline instead of gentle encouragement. Every day, Lucius and hundreds of others march 20 to 30 miles, carrying heavy armor, shields, and a gladius. But here's the twist. Training weapons are 1.5 times heavier than the real thing. If you can fight well with the extra weight, the real battle will feel almost effortless. Compared to modern Hell Week for Navy SEALs, this was Hell Career, a constant grind of pain, exhaustion, and mental strain that forged absolute synchronization between warriors. Small lesson. Real strength doesn't come from easy days. It's forged in the hardest trials, where survival depends on trusting the people beside you. And once you've mastered combat skills, the next question is, how do you actually live in a world where comfort simply doesn't exist? 3. Living conditions and survival priorities. After a long day of marching and training, you might expect some rest. But in the Roman Legion, rest just means a different kind of hard work. The barracks are small tents, or wooden huts shared by 8 men. Straw mats on the floor, thin blankets, and space so tight that if one person rolls over, everyone knows. Meals? Mostly barley porridge, rock-hard bread, and maybe, if luck's on your side, some salted meat. Drinking water is rationed, and baths? Forget it. Clean water is a strategic resource reserved for the campaign, not for comfort. Small lesson: adaptability is the ultimate survival skill. Minimal living isn't about lifestyle choices. It's about freeing energy and focus for the mission that matters most, staying alive. And even if your body survives the grind, there's still one more danger: getting sick or injured. 4. Medicine, morale, and the 3-day rule. In the Legion, medical care isn't about saving everyone. It's about saving the mission. The rule is brutally simple: 3 days to recover, or you're left behind. Army medics work with what's available: herbs, cloth bandages, crude knives. No antibiotics, no modern pain relief. Amputations happen in the camp, with nothing but courage to numb the pain. Small lesson: in extreme environments, every decision comes down to the survival of the group, even when it goes against human compassion. And yet, there was one invisible weapon that kept the Legion moving forward: belief. 5. Faith, fear, and facing the enemy. Before every battle, the camp wasn't just filled with the sound of weapons, it was filled with the smell of sacrifice. Priests examined the liver and heart of slaughtered animals, searching for signs of victory or doom. Before one fight against the Gauls, a priest found a bad omen in the sheep's liver. No one said it aloud, but Lucius saw the worry in his comrade's eyes. Still, the ritual gave them focus, a reminder that the gods were watching, and they had to fight with honor. In a way, it's like modern sports teams performing pre-game rituals. Belief, whether in gods or in each other, is the glue that holds courage together when everything else is falling apart. Small lesson. In war, belief isn't just faith. It's a psychological weapon that can be as powerful as any sword. And that is just one day in the life of a Roman soldier. Not the glory, not the marble arches, but sweat, blood, and the sacrifice of self for the survival of the unit.